aka Geeks.
Hey everybody, welcome to Geeks of Thrones, our Game of Thrones after show. With me is Lynn.
What's up, everybody?
And I'm Sean, of course. And we are going to be going back over this week's episode, the season premiere, the final season premiere of Game of Thrones. It's called Winterfell. Let's get right to it, Lynn. I just want to ask you real quick your overall thoughts. Like, not anything specific yet, because we're going to get into that. But did you like it?
Yeah, I liked it.
All right, good. All right.
It's not like orgasmic like other people were putting online, but I liked it.
I think it's one of them episodes where you gotta
slow burn.
You gotta remind people of things because it's been a year and 8 months.
Yeah, it's almost 2 years.
So it's understandable when people are like really not understanding why they did this. It's like, come on, guys, you gotta do this to get back into the swing of things. So
yeah. But
even though we did that, we got a lot of stuff. So I broke it down into two things: King's Landing and Winterfell, or what happens in the north. Let's start off with Winterfell, and I have it all listed. We can start with first of all, Jon and Dany's arrival. What do you think about this scene? First thing I noticed, and you could bounce off of this once I mention this, but the first thing I saw was, hey, they're going back to the first episode of season 1 with Bran running around climbing things. Mm-hmm. It's very reminiscent, very full circle, and very homage.
I even made a joke saying the last kid that was up that high fell and broke his back.
Yeah, it was nice to call back to that. The arrival of the king and queen from King's Landing. In this case, it was the king and queen of the north and the possible
King's because last time not only was it with Bran climbing, but it was also Arya running to see everybody coming in episode.
Yeah, helmet on.
Yeah.
It was like a combination of the two, but Arya like sidesteps to let him go.
Yeah, which they didn't do for her.
Kind of the passing of the throne,
Yeah.
Passing of the throne, passing of the torch to the little kid. I really appreciated this, and definitely it was just good to see. It was finally like, all right, finally it's happening now. It's happening. Yeah. With this arrival, you got to see a bunch of other things. Most noticeably, like Jon tells Dany, see, I told you they are not very accepting, right off the bat. They're not very trusting. And you get people, giving them the side eye, but also looking at like Little Worm, or Grey Worm, and Missandei, giving them like, what's this? Who the hell are these people? As everybody's coming through, the Dothraki as well, like. Yeah. It's like definite tension.
Yeah, which was expected.
And then
they trusted Jon, but they don't trust her.
Yeah, they don't know who they are.
Yeah.
I love when the dragons fly by though.
I thought that was kind of funny because they were all big and bad looking at Daenerys, but then once those two started swooping down low, they were like, uh-oh.
In my mind, like, once somebody sees Jon handling a dragon, everybody else needs to just shut up and stop trying to question him. Dude's handling a freaking dragon. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think anybody saw them because...
No. I'm just saying,
but when that happens, yes, I believe it. I agree wholeheartedly.
It's one of those things that look at me, I'm a freaking badass. Like, I can freaking ride a dragon. Can you ride a dragon? No, you can't. Get your arm bit or something like it. Next up, we have in Winterfell. You started to having after the arrival. Part of the arrival is you started the reunions of the episode. First off, you have Jon seeing Sansa and Bran. Gives Bran a loving hug and kiss, and Bran's just like very stoic about it. And you get the introduction of Dany to Sansa, and Dany greets her with formalities and niceties. And Sansa's like, and I'm just gonna say this: I'm glad that my sister and Stephanie, my girlfriend, did not act like this together when they first met. Very much the opposite.
Well, if that would have happened, then someone's got to go.
I'd have issues.
Yeah.
What take away from this whole meeting? They're definitely sizing each other up, right?
Well, I think they are definitely sizing each other up, but at the same time, One, Sansa is at Night Road. We've seen her grow up not being able to trust anybody. Anybody that she's come close to trusting, besides family, has been a total shitbag to her. So here comes this girl who's been talked about and raved about, and now she's in her home as her queen. She's not gonna like that. So I expected this, and I expect this to actually get a little bit worse before it gets better. Yeah.
I think what's gonna make it get better is gonna be it's gonna almost be forced to get better. Like jumping a little ahead, we saw the preview of next week's episode, and we all know that there's gonna be a big battle. I think whenever the big battle happens, if it's next week's episode or the week after, I think that's gonna be kind of the thing that speeds it up, like in the sense of like, all right.
Well, they don't have that many episodes to make this drag on, so it has to be
the one thing that I think a lot of people are complaining about. There's so much to cover, and a lot of people definitely want or wish that there was more than 6 episodes. And I'm definitely.
But I think the 90 minutes plus for certain episodes is going to cover that nicely. So
no, there's these two are 54 minutes. Yes, this past weekend 58 minutes. The next one, then it jumps to an hour 18, an hour 20, an hour 20, and then 2 hour 22s. So we maxed out at an hour 22. But
it's still close to 90 minutes. So I think those episodes will do just fine, and I think these are smart guys, man. They haven't really. It's not like they're the Walking Dead crew where they let things just slip off, and then 6 seasons later we come back to it.
I think though you're gonna get with all that extra time past an hour, you're gonna get upwards of 7.5, maybe close to 8, about 7.5 episodes instead of the actual 6 when you count it out. If you talk hour long. So you got this contentious meeting between them. There's that reunion. Also, let's talk about other reunions we have during this episode. Jon and Jon right there. You also have one of the best ones that a lot of people have been waiting for is at the Weirwood tree, Jon and Arya, which I love their interaction. I love the how do you survive getting stabbed in the heart? He goes, I did it. And so it can be played off as a joke, or it can be just flat out like, I'm telling you the truth, please believe it or not. And it's just a wonderful reuniting between them. Really, really good reuniting. And also the words that were spoken after that
didn't leave me worse for wear, man. It made it seem like Arya, need be, should cut his head off.
Yeah, I hope that it wouldn't get that far, but it definitely, she's reminding him like, hey, before even her, you're part of this family, So please remember that as well. Don't let her be the cause of strife between us.
And this is the one thing that bothered me about this episode. Everybody was quick to everything that pertained to Jon, that people were praising him and said, you're the king of the North, blah blah blah. But then at the flip, there's like, well, we can't trust you. Oh, why would you do that? We don't know where you're coming from. They're quick to doubt his judgment now that he's back. But they were okay with him saying, we need allies. I'm going to get us allies. And they were all for that. And when he does that, and of course, he had to bend the knee to do it. But at the same time, look, he's still taking care of the people of the North. Nobody else is. Yeah. And they're quick to just like drop the ball and say, but we don't trust you.
They don't completely wash their hands of him, but it's like it almost seems like they're ready to wash their hands of him.
Yeah.
And it's like you guys need to chill out a little bit and like hear the whole story. Everybody's so ready to like throw the other people down the well and freaking throw the baby out with the bathwater. And
this is something. And poor Jon, he's gone through this because the Night's Watch did it to him at Castle Black. So like, who the poor guy can't get a break?
But then there's usually like the majority of people that truly believe in him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's always a small cadre of people.
Yeah, and he usually we know who he is as a person in the show. So hopefully these words and things like that, hopefully it turns around. You also had the reunion of Arya and the Hound, of course, which I liked that. A little contentious, but kind of filled with respect for each other. Like, you're a cold bitch. Must be why you're still alive.
I don't think she has respect for him. I think she's glad to see it because he's still on her list.
Are you sure? I don't.
Yeah, the Hound is definitely still on her list.
I want to say she took him off. I think she took him off.
Because that's why she made reference to him being left for dead, and when he says, "And I also robbed you."
Yeah, you left me for dead, and they go, and I also robbed you. But I want to say though, I think she took him off the list when he was caring for her. But right after that, he walked away, and you got this sense of like, all right, well, they're not going to try to kill each other right now. I think they both realize there's a bigger thing happening. And then you have Gendry meeting Arya again, where he has the whole "you look good," I mean good, better, whatever. He's all stumbling a little bit. And then he gets into the whole "my lady" thing, which I like the throwback for that.
A Baratheon and a Stark again.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Like part of me's like, oh, they're gonna hook up. They're gonna be betrothed or whatever. You know what I mean? The part,
yeah.
So
Baratheon and a Stark, which is, and if you go back to the early season, when the conversations with Ned and the King at the time, that's what he wanted. Mm-hmm. He wanted a Baratheon to marry a Stark so they could have their whole union. But it was Joffrey at the time.
Yeah.
Now we have.
I want them to end up together. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But there's gonna have to be some deaths, this season. So nobody's safe.
I don't think Gendry is gonna die.
Yeah. You also
he's too important.
Yeah. I saw a lot of comments about people saying like things about Obsidian and the Dragonglass and Valyrian Steel and not knowing how to manipulate it, because she does hand him the design of this new weapon, which I believe is probably the weapon we see her using later in the trailers.
Yeah, staff.
Yeah, and so that's probably that weapon. But honestly, like he showed that he right then and there that he could handle the Obsidian, the Dragonglass, by making it for the Hound.
Well, that's the whole reason. Prior to that, that's the whole reason why he's still with them, because he's the only one that could forge that right now. He's the only, because of who he learned under. Yeah, his tutelage was under one of the guys that could do Valyrian Steel. So I believe that he could probably mess with Valyrian Steel as well. Yeah, I would put money on it that he can. I think I'm hoping to see what that weapon is by next episode. What do you think? Well, you'll definitely see it in her first big battle, because I think the scene when we see her like swinging around and it comes apart, which is interesting. So it's almost like a billy club.
Yeah, so she could do it and have two of them.
Yeah, so I think the two would be like a short dagger and the staff to one side, so she'll have a reach, and anybody comes in, the dagger's going to have the Dragonglass. And I don't know I don't think it's going to be Valyrian Steel. It could be fire at the other end.
Could be.
So we'll have to wait and see.
I was also wondering, possibility, because it's not like a very clear shot of the design.
No, it wasn't.
It's like, is that also her Valyrian Steel dagger connected to the end?
Possibility, just to give her reach, but it looked like it's going to be Dragonglass on that end. I don't think she's going to. I think her dagger's going to stay close to her, unless she melts that dagger down, because that's the only thing. Her dagger is Valyrian Steel.
Yeah.
So unless she has that melted down,
I
can't see her like getting rid of it.
Yeah, that would be like her backup weapon, her needle and the knife that was going to kill Bran.
Yeah.
So there was that reunion, and then also we had the reunion of Sansa and Tyrion, where they had a nice little back and forth. Where this is one of those things where we get to see that Sansa's totally like, she's kept on going on an upward path of knowledge, maturity, and playing the game, and at that one point where it's mentioned about the Lannister forces, she goes, I used to think you were the cleverest man, but essentially, like, you believe Cersei's gonna bring her Lannister army up? She ain't bringing it. You're fooled. So I like this back and forth between them. I feel bad though for Tyrion at the same time, because she's like very unapologetic about leaving him at the altar. I mean, not the altar, but leaving him moments after Joffrey dies.
Yeah.
That could have killed him. So it's one of those things. Again, it's something that has to happen. So it's not like it's not this battle scene or anything. Keep on going with Winterfell stuff. Later on, we had a conversation between Ser Davos, Tyrion, and Lord Varys. And Ser Davos is proposing a proposal, and they're all looking at Jon and Dany, and they're talking
the inevitable.
Yeah,
inevitable. They're like, is anybody else seeing this?
yeah, and it's really nice to watch, and I think that's good. That's not good B-roll, but I think did they do a back shot behind them as well?
No, overhead. They were looking down on them as they were.
Oh, they went to them later when they went to go talk about the dragons, but
yeah.
So I don't know. I like this conversation, the meeting of the minds per se.
That whole conversation doesn't really do anything, doesn't advance anything. It's just three guys that rode with the two of them the entire time before they got to Winterfell. So it's not going to change it. They're not convincing anybody on the other side that they need to. If they were having this conversation, all three of them, with like one member of Winterfell, like one of the girls or anybody else, or even the Maester from Winterfell, if he were still alive, then I could see it like advancing. But it's like they're talking to themselves. To me, it's like a throwaway conversation.
I think
and talking about the obvious.
I think it's more for us.
Yeah, I know, but like
the story. And then they switch the camera to the other side because they're talking and having googly eyes at each other, and then they go to talk to some Dothraki, which tell her that hey, they're not eating right now. So they go to see the dragons because they're not eating. They're only eating 17 sheep and 11 goats, or 11 goats, 11 sheep. And this is when we get to see Jon become a dragon rider. And then it proceeds to have some awesome footage of them going through the canyon, and I like this a lot. It just reminded me of a roller coaster that you could die on.
Here's my thing. Daenerys has to be the dumbest Targaryen on earth, because she should know her family history. Her brother knew her family history. Everybody else has come by. She knows that the only people who ride dragons are what? Targaryens. The dragons take to Jon not because she likes him, but because there's a more deeper bond.
Yeah, and she doesn't. Yeah, they don't.
And she doesn't pick up on it.
They pick up on it, but because they could sense it.
Yeah, that's why I love the look Rhaegar gives Jon at the end after he wrote him. He's just like looking at him and almost looks like a smile on Rhaegar, which is.
So people are saying that he's smiling when they're watching him make out. I wouldn't say it was a smile because then it's cartoonish.
I said almost, but it's more like an acceptance that he has someone again.
Yeah, other people are saying that the dragon's smiling, and I'm like, really? Like the dragon's smiling? Like it's that cartoonish? I don't think the dragon was smiling.
Yeah,
the dragon's mouth was opening slightly, and I guess it might be kind of the whole thing like, like our master looks happy.
Yeah,
but it also
I don't think it's that. I think it's more like, look, there's another one for us.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's funny though that everybody says that they're smiling, and to me, I don't think they're smiling because then that turns this into way too cartoonish.
Well, I look at it as like when a dog sees someone become their No, when they first get a new master, they got that almost smile look. They're not smiling a la us, but there's a sense of innate joy that they actually have a master. So I look at it like that. It's like not really like big cartoon grin.
But that's what people are calling it, a smile.
But it was more. I'm gonna say it more like an accepting smile. Like it's more accepting that okay, Jon's one of us.
Like an accepting dragon facial expression.
Right. It's just accepting. The dragon's accepting.
Well, yeah, that's it's true. It's easy to see that they are really falling for each other. And they're getting along really well. And I mean, how long have they been around each other now at this point? I'm assuming months. After this, we go to the scene where Jon and Sansa then were talking after they get back from their little ride, and they're talking about the situation. Sansa's getting a little upset with him, and he's like, "Do you not trust me at all? Like, you have no faith in me?" Like, and I feel bad for him because I feel like the same thing. Like we're talking about, like does anybody not have faith in him? Like he's been doing the right thing for the people. Like what's the best for the people?
Yeah.
Every step he does, every step he takes, and his own sister questions him. You know.
I'm not surprised because she's so flaky when it came to him anyway. I expect that from her of all else because she never really treated him like a member of the family.
Yeah.
Yep. So only person who did was Arya. So
the part about this scene is that they're definitely trying to paint a picture of love, and she asked, Did you actually bend the knee for the North for the good of the North when they were talking about it earlier in the hall, or did you do it because you're in love with her?" And he just kind of stays silent, and that's painting the picture that they love each other. And I guess that's the route we're going to go with.
Well, in other words, it's Jon. You're not hiding it well.
Yeah.
Because when they took off in the dragon, it's to steal a moment together.
Yeah.
That was the whole point, and they weren't fooling anybody. They weren't. So it was like they might as well just be upfront about it, and like the conversation that we heard earlier, it would make more sense if they were to just say, "Hey, it's a union. It's going to be a union."
And that's where that conversation with Varys, Tyrion, and Davos comes into play. But that, like I said, that's for us, for the audience to be like, "Oh, they're talking about it now," because obviously it doesn't advance the story when it's just those three. If it was those three and Sansa or Arya or whatever, it might have some more impact.
Right, but that let's say Sansa was in that conversation with the three of them, then with her saying that to Jon would have been more impactful because then she really has a leg to stand on.
Yes,
because when she came to him, she's just going off her own emotions.
Yeah, and also people at that point would have suggested it to her.
Yeah.
As far as we know, she's taking it from her own intuition, right? So, they do that. We're getting to the nitty gritty big stuff right here. So they go to what would be the Maester's area quarters, and we have Sam Tully over there reading some books, and Sir whatever his name is, Grayscale, comes in with, huh?
Yeah, you were right, Jorah.
Oh yeah, Jorah. I know it's Mormont, but I was thinking of the dad's name. So Jorah comes in with Dany. They're going in there to thank Sam and asking him for anything they could do. He asks for his pardon, pretty much, and then he finds out about his dad and his brother being dead. I think he was hurt with the dad, but he'd be okay. What really hurt him, which I love the facial expressions and how he was holding it back, was when he heard about his brother.
Yeah, and I think this is going to lead. He's not, because one, he's very standoffish from that point on, and you can see from later on when he has a conversation with Bran about doing what he has to do. And with this, he was like, okay, here I am pleading this woman to give me something, but yet at the same time she just killed two people that I cared about, even though one of them didn't care for me as much.
Yeah, it's still his father.
Just because they defied her. I don't like her.
But the thing about Sam is that he's not an emotional guy in the sense that if this was another show, I would believe that Sam is going to do something bad, right? But because Sam is Sam, what I mean by another show, like if this happened to a character in some other show, odds are they'd want to get retribution because of emotional stress. But Sam's a very knowledgeable and very logical guy. He realizes that, like, okay, I need to separate myself from this because I am freaking a wreck right now, and we got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
And it hurts him so bad because his brother loved his brother. He goes outside, runs into Bran, and Bran says, "Hey, you gotta tell him now." Like, I just got told this, and now I gotta do it. You do it. I'm his brother.
You have to.
You're his best friend. He trusts you better than anybody. You go do it. And then, so I get it. Some people say that, like, I've seen a couple people and I've talked to a couple people that this part happens a little too fast, and I'm
I
kind
thought
of
this. I think
I don't think it does because he
yeah,
approached Jon
you
with
you
the
don't
whole thing about the execution.
yeah you don't want this hanging over the entire series. Were they expecting to do it the last 10 minutes of the show? Oh, by the way, Jon.
You're about boom.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So
This
some
way,
people are saying, like, so me, I think it's okay because with this hanging over his head about what Dany did, he goes to Jon and says, "Look, you spared people, you've executed people, but you spared people. Would you have spared people? Would you have spared them? And you spared thousands of people on top of that. You bent the knee for her, would she bend the knee for you?
Yeah.
You know." And look at what she did. You know, it's kind of one of those things that's all connected, and I think it was a good job. The dialogue was well written of how it connected it all.
I think the dialogue was more powerful because they didn't focus on his face. They focused on Jon.
Yeah,
it was all on Jon. What we were seeing his reactions,
and we already saw Sam's face. So.
Yeah, and his reactions alone when Sam's telling him all this was brilliant. It was like gut punch, gut after gut punch.
And that's the thing about Sam. He's so logical. He understood, like when Jon says, "My dad was the noblest man I've ever known," and he goes, "No, your father. He's your father, but your blood." You know, he like uses words to be gentle with the fact that no, he is your father. That's right, he's your father. Yeah. But your true father is Rhaegar Targaryen. You know, so yeah, I think it's a really good scene. I definitely am looking forward to seeing where Jon goes from there with that. Yeah. And the last couple things in Winterfell, we had Tormund and Beric. They run into Ed over there in I forget which one. I think they have it in the intro. It's the first one they go to in the intro.
This was if you remember when they were having the town hall.
Yeah, this is the Umber Kid. The Umber Kid was the device, essentially, because they sent the Umber Kid out to go get.
Well, he's the Lord.
Yeah.
Of that area, so they sent him back home to get everybody, to get his people.
Gets killed.
Yeah, and to be honest, that was one of the most creepiest parts.
They set it up though. I mean, it was one of those things like, all right, this kid's gonna come back to life here. But when he came back to life, like
yeah, just like and. Of course, our big red guy is just like.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was just hoping that's not how Tormund dies. I was like, that kid's gonna come back to life. Don't kill Tormund.
It could be a precursor that he does go down to White Walker, even though I would prefer him to ride into sunset with a certain knight's female knight. Yes, with Brianna.
I want them to make huge babies. Remember?
Yes.
Giant babies.
That's the only thing I want. If I don't get that, I can care less about the ending.
All right. But yeah, they found out that the Night King is actually in between them and Winterfell, so they've got to hustle up. They got to get on some horses. They got to sneak around. Again, there's that sigil that the fire caused, and this has been shown a couple times in the series, which doesn't have an explanation just yet. It was there with the first men when they killed the first guy to make him into a white. But yeah, hopefully we'll find out what that means this season. I think. I want to. And then last bit of Winterfell on the north, you have right after that you had a shadowy figure with the cloak going over, riding into Winterfell through the town, and I was like, oh, this has got to be Jaime, right? They got to speed things up, so I was like, that has to be Jaime. It turns out to be Jaime. He's a little bit more rugged than last season. And first thing happens, he gets off, looks left, and bam, locks eyes with Bran. Bran previously says that he was waiting there for an old friend. Yeah. What do you think that means? Like, do you think that there was something behind why he said that?
Well, I think him being the three-eyed raven, this is the man who started the chain of events by pushing me out a window.
Yeah.
This all goes back to that first episode, because if you think about it, if Bran hadn't caught the brother and sister making out, making out, and or trying to keep it as PG as possible, he would have never been pushed out the window. He would have never started all this downhill slope to become the three-eyed raven. But the fact that he calls him an old friend,
that's what I'm focusing.
Is more like, is he accepting his role in the bigger picture of things? and understands
the journey that Jaime's been on.
Yeah.
Because Jaime's been on a journey. Like, out of everybody in the show, he's been on a journey from being an asshole, douchebag, villain to softer side, caring and respecting kind of guy, you know? It's good.
I'm still hoping Jaime dies.
I don't. If he dies, I wouldn't say that it's unexpected or undeserved, but I'm saying that he's done a good job of redeeming himself. He's one of the characters that
has he? The conversation with him and Bran is what's going to change my mind on that.
We'll see. Maybe Bran will open his eyes, but I think also part of it is the fact that he left Cersei to go be a man of his word and fight side by side.
Yeah.
We'll see. We will see regarding that. Let's jump over to King's Landing. And there's less scenes at King's Landing, but there's some good stuff in there as well. First off, in the beginning, you got Cersei. She's outside looking out into the distance. And Qyburn comes around and tells her, I have news. And the White Walkers have breached the wall, and they have passed the wall. So what does she come back with? She comes back with a good.
Yeah.
Good. I think she's really hoping that the army in the north, Winterfell, can either win the battle against the White Walkers or whittle them down, but get knocked out themselves, and then Cersei.
Well, no, she's thinking comfortably. She was like, because remember last time she said, White Walkers will never make it down south.
Yeah.
They will never make it, and so she thinks it'll never happen. All they have to do is stay here. Why doesn't the people in the north come to me? Yeah. So she's thinking she's sitting high and pretty with no care in the world. Let them kill each other. She'll just pick up the pieces and rule her kingdom with what's left.
Yeah. And the rebuilding process will happen and whatever after all the people that are against her are dead.
Yeah.
So that's just a little scene where we get to see her. She's still in the same mindset. But when they turn the camera, we see that Euron has brought the Golden Company to King's Landing at this point. They show Euron on the ship with the captain of the Golden Company, and then he goes down to talk to Yara, and she's just like, why don't you just kill me? And then apparently in the book, the Golden Company's all mute, and so he references this like, oh, but if I killed you, I'd have no one to talk to. I have a bunch of mutes on board and stuff like that. So it's nice to like see why she's still alive, because Euron's a sick you know what. And he does things for his pleasure,
the joy of it.
Yeah, like sick things for the joy of it. They then go to a meeting with Euron, the captain, and Cersei, and the captain explains, how everything's going. Euron apparently killed a few guys while playing cards. And then Cersei finds out there's no elephants, and that I think we're all disappointed at this point. The episode.
I don't know where she thought
no elephant.
I'm like, elephants. Okay, that's a mid-sized snack for the dragons. I don't know why she thought elephants were going to do anything better.
Well, I remember when they were first mentioning elephants like a season ago or whatever. Aren't they supposed to be like some majestic, like bigger than our elephant kind of thing?
Maybe, but. To me, no matter what, I don't think they're going to be big enough to fight off a dragon.
But aren't they supposed? I don't know. It would have been cool to see them. What if they come by?
Especially one the size of Drogon.
I'm just saying, like, what if they were like in Lord of the Rings? Those kind of elephants, oliphants.
Well, why not make them the size of the one that was in 300? That Cersei wrote.
Yeah.
Xerxes.
Yeah. So she's defeated because no elephants. You see it in her face. So the guy walks off. Euron sweet talks Cersei at that point about doing everything that she's asked of him, and that he wants to have a conversation in private. And she just goes like, you're so this, that, and I've killed people for less. And he goes, oh, there have been less from me. And she walks away, and she gives him the look to say, all right, come on. And so they go to bed together. They go make out. And then you have Euron being very arrogant and braggadocious.
Well, no, he was asking. No, he was very self-conscious. He was like, "So how was I?" Basically.
But he was really trying to come off as like, I'm gonna push all your buttons.
Yeah.
You know, like he's asking how was the Fat King?
Yeah, and the Kingslayer.
And how's the Kingslayer? And it's kind of one of the things like he's like, look, I know everybody knows. Just talk to me. Just tell me. And so she tells him she likes his arrogance and she's not, and that he is not anything but at least entertaining.
Yeah.
Least entertaining and not boring, or was he not boring, right?
It's something like that.
You have this finally happen. He tells her, "I'm gonna put a baby in you."
Oh, you do a prince.
I'm gonna put a prince in you. Yeah, I'm gonna put a prince in you. After that, there's a thing Cersei does with her face. I felt like it was like she did what she had to do at that moment.
Yeah.
But I feel it was like not guilt per se, but like something was going on there about having to let go and moving on to the next.
Well,
I think
remember she was told that vision that was given to her.
Yeah, bringing up that old story.
Yeah, that she was only going to have the kids she had, and after that was it.
Yeah. So it's a sensitive thing when he says that about, I'm going to put a prince in you. It's very sensitive to her because you see it on her face.
Yeah. But I don't think that's going to go to fruition.
I've been wanting to say this for a while now, is that people have been talking about this because the trailer shows her drinking wine, and so we saw the scene where she's drinking wine. That's from the trailer. And people are like, she can't be pregnant because she's drinking wine. And I was telling one of my friends, I was like, it's not like they had the Surgeon General back then, you know, in this world. So they don't care about drinking wine. The guy comes out a Cyclops or whatever, or looking like Sloth from the Goonies, and that happens, you know.
Look at Tyrion.
But yeah, I think it's so ridiculous and silly that people think that the world of Game of Thrones is like, it's like, the Surgeon General told him not to drink while pregnant. Okay. Okay. After that, we go to Qyburn. He interrupts Braum with 3 ladies of the night. Because they're being PG, right?
Yes.
And one of them was Roz, right?
I didn't really pay close attention, but it's possible.
The middle one that got him. The middle one looked like Roz. I thought it was Roz, but I couldn't tell entirely. But as they're talking about the episode from last season where the dragons like hit the money train, and they talked about Eddie, who was the singer, Ed Sheeran, who they said that his face got burnt off. Yeah. And Qyburn comes in and interrupts him. I love this part. He goes, "Oh, poor girl, she's gonna die from the pox in a year." And he's like, "Which girl?" Freaking love it. Braun is one of my favorite characters, man.
Yeah, but I don't like what comes next after this. The conversation that comes after this.
Yeah, Qyburn tells him essentially he wants him to take care of business for Cersei. So he deduces it down by, okay, I guess she wants somebody killed, but she can't send her men. So then he tells him, yes, her brothers are unlikely to survive what's going on in the north, but shall they survive, you need to take them out with this crossbow. And this sets up a lot for Braun later on. Is he going to do it? Will he do it?
I don't see how he can do it. He's befriended both guys. Both of them are very close to him.
If he does it, that would make him literally like low down.
Shit. Yeah, he's very shit in the world of Game of Thrones. Because if it wasn't for Tyrion, he wouldn't be alive. And if it wasn't for Jaime, he wouldn't be as
well off.
Well off, yeah, because Jaime. But at the same time, both of them befriended him on their own.
Yeah,
you know.
And I truly think at the bottom of all their hearts, though Jaime, Tyrion, and Pod are all friends with Braun, and Braun's all friends with them.
Yeah,
Braun's friends with them. And I think like at this point, Cersei to him is just a woman. He's just trying to live it easy right now. And I think I'm just gonna. I hope that he finds it very difficult to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Either he's gonna die because he doesn't pull it, and we'll see Cersei's giant crush another man's skull. But it does not look like a very good ending for Braun.
It's gonna end out bad either way.
Yeah.
Same. And then last bit of King's Landing, when Euron is over there sweet talking the Queen and everything, Theon and his gang of merry men aboard Euron's ship with Yara and save Yara. Yara headbutts him and gives him the hand, help him up. Thank you for saving me. They go off on their way and they start talking about where they're going to. Yara says, we're going to go back to the Iron Islands. We're going to take it back because he can't defend it. And that way, Dany has a place to come back to. Because remember, Yara is part of the alliance with Dany.
Yeah.
At this point, you see Theon's face kind of like, I'll go wherever you go, but he's very reticent and reluctant because he wants to redeem himself and make everything up to the family that he was raised with for half of his life, that he did wrong, to start. So she says, look at just the opposite of what Jon tells him last season. She tells him the opposite. If you need to go. Help them, and the dead. What is this? The dead will never die. The dead will never die. And she goes,
their
kill them bastards anyway.
Yeah.
Kill them bastards anyway. I like that how she kind of gives him the well wishes.
Yeah.
It shows a development between their characters, their relationship. I think a good development.
Yeah, considering they started off with his head down her pants.
Yeah. All right, so that was all the scenes from the episode. Throw out some of your favorite stuff from the episode. Anything that's your favorite?
Outside of the dragon riding, everything else was pretty lukewarm for me. Because I know, like I said, this episode was meant to be a slow burn and just a catch me up for everybody. And I get that, so I'm looking for things to ramp up the next episode. So I'm probably going to have more in that one hopefully when the battle's going. But this one was it's a slow burn. It cut everything that needed to be cut off right off at the head. I didn't want that hanging over Jon's identity hanging over him for 3 or 4 episodes. So I'm glad they just ripped it off like a Band-Aid.
It's kind of like when we talked about him coming back to life. Remember?
Yeah.
We were talking about are they going to wait an episode or 2 episodes or 3 episodes, and they did it in the first episode.
Yeah.
So it's kind of good that they did that. I think that this episode really knocks down the first domino to get all the other dominoes going.
Yeah. Put a lot of key pieces in motion. A lot of chess pieces were already shown. A lot of moves were made, so we got to see how they play out.
So do you think next week is going to be the battle that they've been talking about at Winterfell, where it's the biggest battle ever recorded on film? Or
if it's still under an hour, I would think it would be more of the bigger episodes.
It's 58 minutes next week,
That's
but
not enough.
They teased us as if it was going to happen.
Yeah, I think towards the later half of that episode it'll start.
Well, they said apparently
they said that they would get there the following morning.
Yeah, and apparently the Two Towers is the biggest battle ever on film, right? That battle in there, I guess. The Helm's Deep. Yeah. Apparently that's the biggest, longest battle.
But that's a cinematic,
Yeah, but they're saying that this is the biggest. It's bigger than that.
For television, I can see. I don't think in all of cinema.
So they say
if they're going including actual full-length movies, I'll believe it when I see it. But I think it's going to be the biggest battle on TV, until I see it.
I think that's easy to believe. Yes.
Yeah.
Said it's bigger than the battle
because all they made reference to that I've read was they said it's a lot bigger than the Battle of the Bastards. The Battle of the Bastards is huge,
and they said it was bigger and longer than Helm's Deep.
So I'll believe it when I see it. So we'll see.
All I'm telling you is what they said.
Yeah.
No, this is what they said. This is what the creator said. They got a guy that directed. He's the guy that directed the Battle of the Bastards episode. Yeah. So he has a good record already. So
so expect it. So with that in knowledge, you'll have to keep in mind that we're going to be pissed off at the end of next week then, because it's going to leave off on a cliffhanger.
Well, because if they're going to do the battle and it's literally that long, I'm assuming it's got to be half the episode, if not more.
That's what I'm saying. The later half, from the last 30 minutes on, at least.
Yeah, and
not 40.
It's a 58-minute episode. if they're gonna do it next week, they got to start off like they got to do the Jamie stuff right away.
Yeah, because they said that the White Walkers would be there that morning.
Oh, yeah, so then
They only had the night to prepare.
Has to be next episode.
Yeah.
And the episode after that's an hour and 18 minutes.
So, and that one might just be a continuation of the battles.
Yeah, it could be like leftover stuff. Yeah, so any predictions that you want to throw out there after seeing this episode?
No, by my time on prediction, I think it's a little too early to call for anything. I mean, we saw key things set in motions, but it could swerve us with any one of them, so I'm going to leave it at that.
Like, I had predictions before we went into the season, right?
Yeah.
And they were just like, some of them are crazy, and if they do come to light, then whatever. But honestly, at this point, like, I don't even want to try to predict stuff anymore. I just want to enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm there with you.
I just want to watch it and enjoy it. So, Any last words, Lynn?
Bring on the rest of the season, man.
Yeah. When that last look from Jamie to Bran happened, I was like, oh, they're going to end it right now, aren't they? Oh, they ended it again.
And what's funny is that Susan walked away for that 1 second to get something because she thought she still had a couple minutes left. Because she actually thought the first one was going to be one of the longer ones. And I said, that's your closer shot right there. And she's like, what is? I'm like, Jamie's looking at Bran. And then she's like, God damn it.
I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season. Lynn is as well. Join us here every week to get the after show on Geek of Thrones. We appreciate you guys watching us. Lynn, where can they find you?
They can find us right here on our Facebook page, our Twitter page, online on Xbox, Ash Darkthorn, for myself, you, all you.
Yeah, okay. And yeah, you guys can find me on everything we've got going on here on YouTube, on the podcast, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch 27, Switch Drop, play some games together. But also, if you guys have any thoughts or anything that's going on with Game of Thrones, let us know in the comment section so we can talk with you about this episode. And so,
did you see a dragon smile or did you not see a dragon smile? You let us know.
Is it like a humanoid smile or is it like a silly puppy smile where, you know, whatever? It's as correct as a dog or a dragon can be. But with that being said, stay tuned for next week. We thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
aka Geeks.